Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today I want to give you a couple of tips, maybe 5 or 6 tips on how you can continue using your old receiver. You may be a home theater freak like I am, and you may have an old receiver lying around the house, or you may be thinking of getting rid of your receiver and maybe moving to a sound bar, or maybe just streaming directly straight from your TV. You know, a lot of people seem to, for whatever reason, many, legitimate reasons, some people don't have the space for a full-blown surround system. Some people are downsizing for whatever reason. Sometimes the wife acceptance factor is playing a big role in how men are viewing movies and listening music nowadays. So anyway, today I want to give you 5 tips or 5 ways on how you can continue to use your old home theater receiver. I have 2 sitting in front of me here, or an old amplifier, whatever you have, right? A lot of people are downsizing. Many people are moving to sound bars. Many people are just streaming directly from their television. Many people are just watching movies on maybe a portable device, a tablet, or I have watched complete movies on my phone, some more. So there seem to be, I'm not saying it's a diminishing need for full-fledged surround sound system, but people's viewing habits have been changing over the years, right? People are kind of downsizing and getting rid of the big black boxes, so to speak. All right. Now, I'm a big believer that if we can continue to use these items, I think I made another video about uses for your old Blu-ray player. You can look that up on the channel. But what I'm saying, I personally believe that if we can continue to use these things, these machines, these pieces of technology, which in many cases are still good, if we can continue to use them and keep them out of the landfill and the accumulation of electronic waste, I think it's much better for our environment in the long run. All right? And not only that, if you are a tinker or a geek like I am, I'm sure, what I'm going to tell you, maybe tips that you can appreciate. Maybe you have thought of them before, maybe you haven't. So if you're on the fence about getting rid of your home theater receiver, your surround sound receiver, then these tips might help you. All right. Now I have 2 here. One was made by Panasonic. This is a fairly old receiver. Maybe it's about 14 to 15 years old. This one, the one below it is a newer model from Marantz. It's a full-fledged modern receiver, Dolby Atmos, DTS-X, everything, 4K, 60p pass-through, everything, right? But yet people are getting rid of these things. Now, like I said, I'm a home theater freak. I have a surround system in this room. A lot of stuff happening in this space. It is my YouTube studio. This is my home theater room. This is where I have my 5.1 system set up. At one point it was a Dolby Atmos system with high channels and everything. I have since downsized somewhat and I've gone back to 5.1 because I am personally dissatisfied with the 5.1.2. Maybe one day when I can afford a more expensive receiver where I can have a minimum of 4 high channels, then I may reconsider upgrading to another surround sound receiver. So currently, this is the one I'm still using. This is around 14 to 15 years old. I kid you not. And this one, maybe it's around 6. from Marantz, Panasonic and Marantz. So tip number 1, you can use it as a backup. So if you have a system running right now, you may have just upgraded and you're thinking about selling the current one that you have. You may have a current Dolby Atmos setup with, full-fledged system. So you may have upgraded from one like I have here, which is just a 5.2.2. You may have upgraded to something a little bit more advanced. So I would say keep the old one. Don't get rid of it yet. Don't sell it. One of the worst things that can happen is you're in the process of watching a movie or you're getting ready to watch a movie and something is wrong with your current system. It could be a hardware or a software issue, but something is wrong with it. So it's a good idea to keep the old one as a backup. I do that all the time. Whenever I'm using either of these, the second one is usually my backup. I may be using the second one to play music, or maybe it's just tucked away somewhere as my backup. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, a lot of people don't realize that you can use something like this to power a set of passive speakers for a computer, right? I have used this one to do that in the past, all right? So you have a nice set of computer speakers. They are passive, they're not powered, meaning that they don't have an amp built inside of them. And instead of going out, to the store to buy a designated set of computer speakers, why not just use the receiver that you have at home, if you have space under your computer desk, to power those, to power a pair of speakers. This receiver, or both of them, have optical inputs. They have analog inputs, all right? You can take an analog connection from your computer motherboard and come straight to, an input here, whether it be CD input, whatever input you want to use. Or you can take a digital connection, like an optical cable or SPDIF, or, some people call it Toslink. Whatever you want to call it, straight from your computer motherboard, because most computer motherboards the modern motherboards have a Toslink out, and you can go straight into something like this. You get pristine order from your computer. So that's tip number 2, using these to power a pair of passive computer speakers. All right? Tip number 3, these machines make excellent amplifiers for music playback. I have no issues whatsoever using a surround sound receiver as a 2-channel source of music. None whatsoever. I do not hesitate. I have done it for years. Okay, and I still do it. I'm not doing it right now, but I will still do it. So these make excellent 2-channel amplifiers for music. And one way in which you can utilize these pieces of equipment is to use them as a source for background music. It may be background music in your home. Many of them have nice tuners built in. All you need is it's a good antenna. Or in the case of the Marantz here, it has Spotify built in. You can stream Spotify from your phone straight to the amplifier. Your phone is not occupied with the stream because the amp actually takes it over, and you can have music playing in the background, right? So, like I said, these make excellent sources of background music. If you're just listening to the radio, maybe you're playing back a CD through one of them, using it as an amplifier. Yeah, so don't underestimate the power of these black boxes. All right, tip number 4. You can use these machines as music streamers. I think I alluded to that in tip number 3. So for example, the Marantz here has Spotify built in. And many of the more modern receivers that you'll find in the big box stores or, your electronic dealer also have streaming apps built in, music streaming apps built into them. Tidal, Qobuz, Spotify, right? So these make excellent sources of music streaming. If it's old, then probably you won't have these apps built in. In this case, this Marantz that I have here, it's old, but not old enough that it doesn't have an app. At least it has one app built in. So very good source of streaming, using it as a streamer to connect to your streaming app or your streaming account, and you can stream some music in the background. All right, tip number 5, guys, and this is kind of piggybacking on the background music thing. Tip number 5: you have a garage or you have a home with a backyard, and you want to set up some outdoor speakers in the backyard, or you want to set up some speakers in the garage. If you have one of these old units, excellent again for that purpose. You're doing something in the backyard, you are entertaining some friends in the backyard. You could hook up some speakers on the patio outside or somewhere outside, have some speakers on some stands or whatever, or you're in your garage, you're working out, or you're doing something in the garage, hook one of these up somewhere in the garage, and there you go again. You have some serious background music, serious ways of keeping these in the loop in terms of utilizing them for your personal enjoyment. Yep. So that was tip number 5. Tip number 6: if you're into gaming, right? A lot of the young kids nowadays are into gaming, and you want to game in the surround sound way. You have speakers all around your computer. These make good, excellent machines for that kind of purpose, right? Hook up your, like I mentioned earlier, hook up the SPDIF or the Toslink from your computer into one of the Toslink input in one of these, and hook up your surround speakers, center, left and right and back, and get into your game. These make beautiful sources of surround sound gaming. If you're into surround sound gaming, awesome. Keep in mind that you can add a subwoofer to these machines, right? So not only do you have, nice ambient surround music or movies or whatever it is, but you also have the oomph to go with it, right? Because you can attach a subwoofer to these units. All right? So those are my tips today, guys. 6 ways on how you can utilize these older receivers. One that you may have sitting around the house, packed away in a box, or maybe sitting, in a closet somewhere. 6 ways on how you can pull it out, dust it off, and utilize it to its full potential. All right, so that's all I have to share for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you like the channel and my take on using, old gear and all of that, integrating old electronics into your system or making good use of old electronics. If you like where I go with these kind of topics, don't forget to subscribe, all right? So until the next video, until I see you again, you take care, all right?